Okay, hope all of you are back. Let's get started. Now, one way that we saw to get these output was through what we call as the subject areas. Now, other than these subject areas, you also have what we call as the data model method, which is primarily used to get the data directly from the query. So if I say create report, one of the options that we see here is the use data model. Okay. Now, data model is nothing but a way of getting the data from the tables. Okay. One of the ways is by writing a query. So how do we do this? Let's see. Let's write a query here. So if you can click next. Since there is no data model, okay, so it will ask you to create the data model, right? So how do we create the data model? You can create the data model by clicking on create, and this is an option to create the data model. Click on SQL query here. Okay, this is the data model, and click on SQL query. So give a name for the query. Let's say EMP info. Here you have to choose the data source, choose HCM, and this is a standard query that you are going to be writing. So for this, we are going to say, in case you are not familiar with SQL query, here you will need to know SQL query to be able to write this. Let's write a simple query. Query is something that you select, let's say person number. Okay. From for all people F. And if you want to read multiple columns, you can also, you want to check what columns are there. You can write select star from per all people F and then do OK. So system will fetch you all the columns that are in that table. Okay. You will see there's like, per all people F, the primary, the employee number is there, person number is there, mailing address ID is there, primary email ID is there. These are ways to connect with the subsequent tables. Okay. So here you can see this is the person number. So to go back to that query, we can click on this group, click on this settings, edit data set. So here we'll say person number. And I say, okay. Now to look at this data, you have these tabs here. This is the structure within a group. You have multiple columns. Right now, only one column is there. And when you click on data, You can see 5 rows at a time. You can increase, you can have 2 views. This is called as the tree view, or you can have the table view. Okay. Now only 5 rows are displayed. You can say 10, click on view. 7, 10, 13, 39, 44, 49, and so on. You can go to a max of 200 in this particular view. Now, let's think of something else. Suppose I want the employee, the person number, as well as their name. Now, where is the name kept? Name is kept in the table called as per person names. Now, the way we do this is we use what we call as the aliases, and from you separate the tables by per person names underscore f, where ppnf. Let's use the table alias for all people f dot person id equal to ppnf dot. This is quite like the table type of value set that we had used. Then I say OK. Now see, only one column is being shown. If I want to add the full name, so I'll say here, comma, full name. And I say OK. So you have person number, full name. If I go to data, I'll click on view. System will fetch the name and the person number. So this is the table view. Okay. Now you can see the names are repeated because of that name type. So we'll have to put a condition here. You can say global. Now you see you only get one. Clear? Anyone got any question on this? Anyone, any question? Okay. Now, this way of writing the query requires information about these tables here. Okay. So if I want the person number and their names, I'll have to join these two. I also want their email address. I need to join this table. I want their addresses, phones, then I need to join all 5 tables. Similarly, if I want their assignment, I will need to join their assignment tables. Often the queries that we write join 12, 14, 20 tables, sometimes 30 tables also. Okay. The number of tables will depend on what information is required and how we are writing them. Some people find it convenient to write their own queries because they think it gives them control. But you need to have an understanding of the underlying table structures, without which it will be difficult to do this, right? In that way, the workforce, the subject areas that I showed you, that is a better way because that allows you to get the similar kind of data without you having to write those queries. You get what I'm saying? We were able to get the person number, full name, job, position without you having to know the name of the table. And it was more user friendly than writing in this way. Got it? So you can choose, you can either way, you can opt for whichever way you think is convenient for you. And then you can choose the best path which is there. So you have multiple options here. Oh, another thing. When you write this sort of queries, you want to create a report. We don't always see the data. We don't give it to the user in this format. So for this, usually we save a sample data. Then we save this data model. Employee info DM. Okay, DM is for data model. You can save it locally, or you may want to put it under the shared folders. Shared folders is where everybody will get to see this. In that case, you will need to put it under custom. Okay, so my data model is now saved. Then I go to create report. One option of creating the report is by using that layout editor that we were using, but that may not always be very convenient. So what we do is we fetch the data model from here. Okay. And you can generate a RTF layout. You can create your layouts and upload them, or you can generate the default layout using this template, this query. Okay. So you can say SP info. Okay. And then you save this report. Instead of DM, we'll call it as REP. You click on view report and you get the output. Okay. Now you see for some of them, there are multiple records. There could be because of, the date effective changes that we did. Okay. So if you were to go back and look at this report and see what has changed, why is it showing you multiple records? You need to check your query. We already have that global condition, and we will say or what we can do is we can add the ppnf dot effective start date, comma, p, PAPF dot effective end date. Okay. I am looking at the dates from the respective tables. So if the dates are going to be different, in that case, I will be having multiple records, of course. See here, uh, here it is not showing you. Let's save this query, return, view the report. Oh, layout. So I'll add a default layout here, which will have my see Alan Cook. He has different dates here. Effective end date is all 31st December 4712, but he has some changes 9 2015, 23rd January 2016, 5th January 2015, and so on. Got it? So because of the date changes, system is showing you the details here. Okay. Now, the way to overcome these sort of situations is you need to go to the query. You need to fetch the current record. That means today's record, whichever date you are using. So for that, we add this condition and sys date, which is today's date, between so the date is between this date and this date. And here I save this. Now, if I view the data, I will only see one set of data. The latest data. And then if I want to create a report, I fetch the same data model, generate a default layout for that. Save this. as a report. Now see, you get only one set of records. Now this guy, Stuart Mandy, and most of the duplicate ones are gone, but there are still some records which are duplicate. If you look at this effective date is from the other table. So what you need to do is, this is because we have put a condition only on the per all people left table, right? You should put such a condition in every date track table. Okay. Say return. Now, since we have just made change to the query, we don't need to regenerate the layout. When do we regenerate the layout? We regenerate it if there are changes in the layout. New columns getting added, new values getting added. Now see, my duplicate values are gone. Okay. This is the way you will need to write, reports in your order to get them out from the application. Clear? Anyone, any question? I'm sure you will feel the subject areas are a better way of doing. We don't need to know so much about the reports. Don't need to know so much about the queries. We don't need to understand which query to write, which table to get, which column to get, right? All you need to know is which subject area, and from within the subject area, you can choose the columns one by one. You can also use trial and error method to get you the appropriate record, right? So those are your choices, you can say. Based on your choices, you can choose the way you want to write the report and fetch the record. Now, one basic question you may ask, what is the need for these reports? The need for this report, one, you get to see so much of data in one place. In the application, usually you will not see all this data in one single place, right? It's like an Excel. In Excel, you see everything, correct? At the same time, in other pieces, other parts of the application, different screens are there, different tables are there. So using a report, you can get data from multiple screens, multiple tables, and display them in one single place. So this is the reason why you may need to write reports. Besides, if you want some users to view the report without getting into the application, you want to take a export out of the application and send it to them, you can do that. Those are the other requirements that you may have to create and display the reports. Got it? Now, whenever you write these default reports, or if you have to write any kind of layouts and the layout reports, you need to use what we call as the BI Publisher desktop plugin. Those plugins have to be installed on your machine, and they require the header, logo, name, date, page number. See, all these are already inbuilt into the application, into the default layout. This is the name of the column. This is the column that you're fetching from the database. This is the title of the column, right? So you can also write specific queries around this. We have more elaborate sessions where we talk about, OTBI reports, how to create them, how to look at the reports and stuff like that. Right now, we are not going into those details. As you know, realize these sort of reports, the OTBI data model type of reports require an understanding of one, SQL, second, table structures, and the column names, so that you can write the tables, you can write the queries to get the data from the correct tables and in the appropriate from the appropriate columns, right? So you also need to understand how to join them, put them together, and how to run them and things like that. Now, a little bit on these OTBI side of things. From the catalog, you can see there are a lot of different types of outputs that you can generate. Okay. So if you go into any of these, okay, from the home or from the catalog, you can see from the home, these are the different icons that you see here. This is called as a dashboard. Okay. HCM dashboard. And this is manager analytics dashboard. So if you want to open this kind of a dashboard, click on open. Dashboards, by default, you have some dashboards provided by Oracle. These are often customized, or some of them are recreated based on customer requirements. So here you can see this is like the manager's dashboard, top level reporting. Okay, how many corporate compliance learning, how many people have completed this, how many overdue, how many in progress, how many completed. So these are called as the cards in the dashboard. So if you want to look at the details, you have a drill down facility. See, this is the breakup. Who are those people who have a due date of this? How many days overdue? Okay. In this way, you can run different dashboards from the application. Okay. Now, let me also show you other reports that are here that you can also generate. So if you go inside this, you will find HR, all these folders are here. Okay, employee profile, GDPR, customer connect, HCM dashboard, infolets. Okay, and this is within custom. Okay, and if you go into HCM, you will find these human capital management. These are the standard things which are provided by Oracle. Okay. Suppose you want to look at core HR, click on expand. Okay. You will not see anything here. Okay. And suppose you want to go inside benefits. Okay. You have different folders here. This is US specific data models. Then payroll. Let's get inside payroll. So you have the accounting distribution, data models, monitoring and tracking, payment distribution, payroll calculations, payroll dashboard. Okay. All this you have over here. Okay. If you want to look at their data models, you can come in, and if whatever is visible, you can see those things. Okay. And within this, outside this, if you go under custom, all your reports are actually visible through the custom place. Okay. Suppose you want to get inside HCM, go under human capital management. Again, you have these payment distribution, payroll calculations. Okay. This is the deduction report. You can click on this more, click on schedule. Okay. And you need to, when you are submitting it, you need to provide a name for this. Okay. These are your parameters that you can run. This type of reports, okay, where you have to use, you see these are called parameters. Parameters are like your filter conditions that you can put here. Now, through these filter conditions, you can actually uh, restrict the amount of data that you are seeing. You can filter out the data. You can say everybody who is in a particular location, everybody who is in Noida, who is in Pune. So by location, it can show you the data. By manager, it can show you whatever filter you put there, by department, position, grade, employee. All of those can be your parameters. So when you define these parameters, the parameters will come first. You need to provide the parameter value. Based on that, system will generate the report. Now you see here, this is the, if you click on open here, you will get to see the, okay, the default layout. Okay. You change any of these parameters, you will be able to see their output. But most these reports are what you will see. You will run through the submit flows in the application. From the application where we, if you remember, we had a submit flow. From there, you can run these reports, payroll register, payroll, the benefits report, and all of these you can get here. Then, I think report wise, this is pretty much Let me go back to the application. From here, when you have these kind of, this place report and filter, reports and analytics, if there's anything visible here, you can also run these reports from here. Okay. So you have like, this is a demo health and safety. Okay. So this is a sample health and report safety report. So here you have the incident number, which location, when was, what type of incident it was, who reported it, reporter phone, reporter email, summary, incident details. All this is mentioned over here. All right. So much about your reports. Now, the other day, if you remember, I was telling you that some of these reports, some of these screens, some of these reports, you can mostly not the reports, mostly the screens and the fields and the values that you see there, they can be customized. Okay, the look and feel, how they feel and things like that. You can do that through the application. Now, to do that, you need something called as what we call as the sandbox. Sandbox is like a trial environment that you have where you can do the changes. People will not see it till you actually deploy it. Okay, till you say final. So how do we do that? I'll just briefly show you that. So for this, you need to go to here. If you scroll down, you will see under configuration. Okay, these are the things you can configure. Okay, the structure, the menu, and some of the fields that you need to do, appearance. Okay, all these things you can change. For example, if I click on appearance here, this is the customer logo that I have. If I want, I can change that. Okay. Now, how do I change it? I would need to first create a sandbox environment. And within that sandbox environment, I can add it. So here, how do we do that? We go to this, either we can go from here, sandbox page, or we click on this sandboxes. Okay. These are all the tools on the left-hand side that are available that can be used to do these kind of configuration changes. Okay. So you can create your own sandbox here. So let's say we call it training sandbox 1. Okay. So when I do this, what tools do you want inside that? You can choose from here. Okay. And what is the purpose of each of these tools? They are mentioned over here. Application Composer, it is used to create any custom objects and fields, extend user interfaces and business logic. Service offerings, you remember there was a service offering when you go into setup and maintenance. Over there, you can actually choose which service offerings and stuff like that. So that is where you can do these using the changes here. Then you have the structure. Structure is to configure the navigator and the springboard. You want to make certain changes there. Experience Design Studio is to change any user fields, hide them, enable them, make them required, or things like that. User interface text, if you want to add a message, if you want to add a text somewhere within the screen to inform people about it. Okay. Messages, flex fields, page integration, page composer. Okay. Each tool is there for a specific purpose. For now, I'll just choose this and say create and enter. Create and enter means I am entering into the sandbox environment. And once I get into the sandbox environment, system will show me here at the top that I am within the sandbox. See here, now this yellow line comes and it says sandbox mode. What is the name of the sandbox? We said TRNG SB1. Okay, everyone, so far? Now, once I get into this, I am already inside that sandbox. If I again click on this name, I'll be taken back to that previous one, but I don't want to do that. So I should not be clicking on that. Instead, I will go to, let's say, appearance. So this was the vision logo that we had. In case you want to change the vision logo, you can browse and pick up your own logo, your own customer logo that you have. And these are the color schemes that you have: aquamarine or autumn red, bright blue, crisp green banner. Okay. Based on your need, you can do the changes to the color schemes also. Okay. Let's say I have crisp green here. Okay. So one, my logo can change. Okay. So it now I can change the theme itself. So when my theme changes, all the dependent things will also change. So this is how the color scheme is going to look like. This is a preview. So you can change the icon set style. You can change the size of each of them. Making sense? Now, ideally, we would choose any one of these. We would not do both. So let's say I don't want the crisp green. I just want that redwood light. Okay. And I want to change the logo here. Okay. And then I say apply. Now, oh my God. Okay. This is Curtis Fetty's icon has come here. So if you don't like it, you can discard the changes. So see, now this huge logo has come at the top along with the normal tiles that you see here. If I don't like it, I can go back to the edit. This is the reason why before you make any changes to the environment, you need to do it in Sandbox. Check if everything is working fine, and only then should you proceed with your changes. Now you can see this is too big a logo to appear here. So naturally you need to change it. So what you can do, you can pick up the predefined logo that is there. Okay, something like this. Uh, you can also put the URL over here. So you can say predefined and Oracle Light Dark. Now, when you apply it here, you only do the changes within the application, within the sandbox. These will not affect anything else that you have seen. Now see, my logo has changed from Vision to Oracle. But this is only applicable within the sandbox. If I go out of the sandbox, how do I go out of the sandbox? I can click on this and say leave sandbox. It will go back to the previous one. Okay. Next. If I want to do anything to the structure was to the navigator and the springboard. Okay. These are all your navigator options that you had. My client groups, me, hiring, product management. Okay. So when you click on this, my client group, suppose you want to change the order. For example, something simple. I want my client groups. I want me right at the top. Okay. Then my team. And then I want my client group. So I will push this to the top. And each of these, I have an option to enable at the navigator level or at the springboard level. So you see, I got my client groups right at the top. My team, not yet. So I can change the order. Okay. If you want to add anything, add a new one, or you want to, make a new item here, you can click, you can create a group or you can create a page entry. What is a group? Group means it's my client group is a group. Me is a group. My team is a group. So like that, you can create a new group over here. Okay. See this name, you can give a name, say frequently used. Okay. And you can choose the icons. Do you want it to be available on the navigator? Yes or no? And there is another something called as expression language. EL. EL is a conditional kind of thing. So right now we will just keep it as on navigator, say yes. Save and close. Now see frequently used has come here. Now if I click on it, I'll be taken inside this if I want to rename or I want to change the icon. If I want to change the icon, I have a list of icons that I can use. Okay. Whichever one I want, I can use over here. Suppose I want this. Oh, getting timed out. Okay. And within this, I want to add some pages here. In that case, I will go create page entry. I want to put it under frequently used. So the group is frequently used. Do you want to show it on the navigator, etc. and all this? You need to provide all this, the view ID, the web application to use. The way we do these is we go and look up the other ones and see what is there. And based on that, we'll populate our view IDs. Okay. So let's say right now I'm just putting some garbage here. Okay. I say save and close. Got it? So now your frequently used person is created in the navigator. Word of caution, do not do these on the actual environment till these are done. See now, frequently used and the person has been, tile has been created. Since we don't have the proper view ID given here, therefore the screen will not open up. But once you put in the view IDs, where will you get the view IDs? You can click on an existing screen and check the view ID and use that as a way of creating the view, creating the tile for yourself. Got it? And since we had said that we want to also show it in the navigator, see here, frequently used and the navigator along with the icon has come. Okay. So this was about how we make changes to the navigator or we make changes to our springboard. Now, the other tool that we have is the HCM Design Studio. So these are based on individual fields and individual screens that we have. For example, let's say the person details object. Okay. Over there, I have different things over here. Landing page images or conditions, AI configurator, autocomplete rules, delivered rules, and stuff like that. Right. Now, if I want to look at the design thing and design studio, I can choose, let's say under absences, repeat display rule. What does this rule say? See, this description is repeat display rule. That means whatever was given, okay, that has been repeated. And this is the show and hide region. Suppose you want to, this is an absence entry page. Okay. And these are the individual fields that you have. Okay. Absence balance. See, balance as of date, it is visible. And existing absences. business title visible, keyword is visible, search by type or status is visible, sort by is visible. Suppose I don't want this keyword to be visible, then I need to say not visible here. Okay. And then I go and save and close this. And once we say done, when we go to the particular page, we will see this will no longer be visible. Okay. This is how you can enable, disable fields from the Design Studio. Word of caution again and again, before you do any changes in the application, make sure that you have tested it out properly. Okay. Do not deploy the changes without making the changes, without testing the changes. You have to make changes, obviously. Okay. Structure, user interface. This is again often used when we have to add any messages or any user defined, text, or you want to make changes to those text. Then system allows you the flexibility to do this. So nothing has been replaced here. You want to do an export and an import, you can do from here. Search and okay. Let's say I want to find all employees and replace them with worker. So it is looking for the word employee and modifying it to worker. Some companies, they call employees as associates. Some companies call their employees as maybe consultants. So everybody is a consultant, right from the bottom to the top, right? So those kind of things you can also do through these text changes. That one had timed out. That's why it's not showing. But in case any changes were done, then this will be visible here. Okay. So these are some of the ways you can do these changes. Now, in case of the Redwood that we have got, in the case of Redwood, the changes are a bit different. You need what we call as the VBCS, okay, the uh, Visual Builder configuration. Okay, so that is where you will be doing these changes. Now, that is a little more elaborate, but I will just show you from where you can get started. So, under the configuration, you have this visual builder. Okay, so and visual builder is the one which is used to do such kind of changes. Okay, so if you see here, through the changes, you need to go in and there are step by step. See, this is a particular change that has been done. Okay. And on the right hand side, you can see who are the team members who can access this, in which environment has it been done, what are the recent activities that have been done in this. Okay. So HCM implementation 20 changed hosted repository. So this has now gone from the GitHub main access level open private. So this is a private change that is being done here. So you can see the history over here. Yesterday, who did what? Okay. Those of you who are maybe familiar with GitHub is basically the repository of all the technical objects, and then you can build and you can make the changes and deploy the changes into the environments. So this is a little more elaborate that things that you need to see and enter over here. Taking so much of time. Okay, I think see, these are the jobs, the changes that have been done. Okay. Job to deploy an application extension. Okay. So this one will help you to any job related, any changes that you're doing that you want to deploy into the system. Okay. Again, I will repeat this. These are done in the setup in the sandbox environment first. We do not do them directly in the actual environments. Okay. Now, whenever we were in a Redwood page, the Redwood pages are built using the VBCS. Okay, that's why whenever you are getting into a uh, uh, VBC, you are getting into a Redwood page, you will find those are typically, you know, mm, they give you access to the VBCS directly. Okay. Okay. This is the normal page that you are seeing here. Okay. If it was a Redwood page, you would not see this. Instead, see, this is a Redwood page. You can see the word URL in the word URL. Redwood is there. And here, from here, you can say edit the page in Builder Studio. So once you click on this, you will be taken to the Visual Builder Studio. It will again open Visual Builder Studio. So this is how the page is looking at runtime on the left hand side where it is trying to load the page and the application. And these are the things that you can do. You can configure the fields and region. You can configure any validations that you want, any of the labels that you want to show. Okay. Any changes that you want to do. Add icon, edit the icon, any biographical info. All these things you can do over here. Looks like a browser issue. It had opened it up pretty nicely. Okay. Now, after doing any changes, there is a publish button here. You need to publish the changes for it to take effect. Okay. From the VBCS side. Here you have two modes. One is the express, which is like short and straight. Advanced, it's much more elaborate. Okay. And you can actually so here you can see behind the scene, if you want to configure the fields, okay, these are the individual fields that you are having. No, sorry. Anyway, so like I was showing you, this is a browser related issue and it's not allowing me to sign into the environment. Mhm. Anyway, we'll have to sign in some other time. So this is largely what I had to show today. So when you go in the next half, please create those reports using the subject areas. That is the main thing. Okay. Now, once you're done with your sandbox, you have an option of publishing or leaving. Okay. Do not publish till you're sure that you really want to mess up the system. But other than that, the best way is do the changes and then you can leave the sandbox. So now once you leave the sandbox, notice we put in the logo of Oracle, but originally it was Vision, if you remember. See, now it's gone back to Vision again. Okay. But you do not lose your sandboxes. You have your sandbox. If you go back to the configuration, click on sandboxes, and you can see your sandbox here. If you want to enter the sandbox, go back into the sandbox. You can click on enter sandbox. Lot of times what we do is we keep doing the changes over a period of time, do the testing. Once we are ready, then we first deploy it in the test environment. If we like what we are seeing in the test environment, that is when we will again deploy it back into the application. Okay. So now we come back into the sandbox environment once again, but I'll not publish it. Instead, I will say leave. Okay. Anyone, any question? Anyone, any question?
No, not till now.
Okay. All right. So let me just share those materials that you wanted once again.